Hello everyone, Quinn here and welcome to the first installment of my library challenge. This challenge got inspired by Gavin Reads It All. Check out his library challenge playlists on his YouTube channel. As for my challenge, my library provides a librarian recommendation. So I can fill out a form, you can see it here, ask for certain genres, fill in any wants, any unwants, and any desires that I have for a book that I want recommended to me. And because I'm extra, I am basing this all on my favorite shelf. Here is books on my favorite shelf. In order for a book to get on my favorite shelf, it needs to be spectacular. It has to end with me thinking about the book, and it just needs to blow me away in ways that I am not expecting, and in ways that can be vastly different from one another. You can see that there's a variety of genres on my favorite shelf. Middle grade, YA, adult, so it's just a whole plethora of different books. So I included these favorites on that form. I also added a few other things like my Goodreads list, and I did also, this time around, choose fantasy and sci-fi as the genres I wanted recommendations from. I do have a plan for the next installment, horror and romance, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We are starting with the fantasy. Now, I got recommended 3 fantasy books. We have The River Has Roots by Amal El-Mohtar, The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, and The Night Circus, also by Erin Morgenstern. In the email I received, you could kind of tell that they had put books in and then went back and edited, because there was a comment about thanking me for providing my Goodreads list. And so The House of the Cerulean Sea, that trilogy, was recommended. I have read the first book of that, and I only gave that a 3.5 star, but it was left in the email. So I am a little curious on, because of that recommendation, like what these will end up being. Like, I don't know what to really expect. I am so picky when it comes to books, but I'm hoping that based on my favorite shelf, I'll have a higher chance for even like a good 4-star. Out of any of these. Now, I was gonna have a video with reading all 3 of these, reading all 3 of the sci-fi as a separate video, but I have already accidentally read The River Has Roots. I read it for the Magical Readathon hosted by G for the spring semester. I had to read a book with River in the title, and so this one popped up. It was short, the audiobook was available, and so I picked it, and it got a 5-star out of me. The audiobook was superb, so fantastic. And later on when I'm prepping for this video, because the email I got ages ago, and now I'm finally getting back into content making, I was looking at the email and I was like, oh my God, I accidentally read one of the 3. What am I supposed to do? I will give a quick review. So I do highly recommend the audiobook. A big part of this book is a singing aspect, and there is actually singing in the book, or even like in the background while the narrator narrates the story. It has been a while, so I might miss some details. It is a story about 2 sisters, and their family dates back who knows how long, and they sing to this specific tree. So there is like fae magiciness with this forest just outside of their town. Something unfortunate happens to one of the sisters because they say no to someone who is interested in her, and we're just unfolding this story where she doesn't have a voice to explain what happened, and he is now after her sister. And in order for the truth to be told in the Fae wilderness, she has to ask help from her actual betrothed, who is a resident of the forest. And it was just so good. It was so moving, so lyrical. I usually don't like sibling stories or sisterhood stories. That's usually not my vibe, but this one hit so good. And so if you like that type of stuff where it's, you know, the family bond really driving the story, if you like magical elements, more so similar to myths or riddles or songs, I would highly recommend this. As for the other 2 books, I've actually owned The Starless Sea for 2 or 3 years. It has been on my physical TBR. So I'm like, oh cool. They recommended me a book that I already own. The Night Circus, on the other hand, I have owned it before. I never got to it and I unhauled it. So I'm a little more hesitant about that one, but it's not like I tried to read it and DNF'd it or anything. It just, I don't think it got put up on my docket. Now here comes the issue. Do I start a book that I currently have on my physical TBR? It is, I think, almost 500 pages and feel good to knock off a book I've had for a while? Or do I pick a book that I've owned before, it's been on my radar for the longest, and I don't own it, so I have to check it out from the library? And this is also over 500 pages. So you see my predicament. Both options have logic to them, and I'm still undetermined on which one I want to read. I originally wanted to read both of them for this vlog. We'll see. Because of how chunky they are, I'm unsure if I'll split this video into two, but as for now, this is kind of the basis that I have going on. I have 2 books so far. Lydia got 1 5-star out of the 3 recommendations, so I mean that's beyond what I was expecting. So I already count this as a win, and I'm interested in the sci-fi as well because I've never heard of any of those books. So that's a little sneak peek for you there. So I will stop blabbing, and future me will be checking in with you shortly. So I have decided to go with The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern instead of The Night Circus, just because this is the one on my physical TBR right now. And so it would feel good to knock off such a big book. And we'll see. I'm still on the fence if I'm going to try to read 2 books for this library challenge or to split it up. But here is my bookmark of choice. Matches pretty well. I mean, it's green instead of blue, but I liked the little sword motif. I do have another one with bees on it. Hi, Ivy. She's like, why is this book in my spot? So I am gonna get started with this one and keep you updated. So I'm gonna give a quick update. I read for about an hour. I only got to page 25 of this book. As always with books, it is very slow going up until like page 30 for me. So I try to get to that page mark, and I'm glad I pushed through even though I was a little tired because I'm hooked already. What is happening? So The Starless Sea starts off with book 1, Sweet Sorrows. And the first chapter you get is from the point of view of a pirate who is locked up, getting ready for the gallows pretty much. The second chapter, we follow an acolyte who is sworn to silence, and that silence opens her up to stories. The third one follows a young boy who sees a graffiti wall of these symbols: the sword, the bee, the key. And he's like, oh, this looks and feels so real. How, whatever. And this book is written in, I think, second person. And so it's just like the book tells us, oh, hey, like if he were to reach and try to twist the doorknob of this door, even though it's like flat against the wall, he would have started his story, but not yet. The next chapter follows a young adult who is in college going for, I think, something about video games, and he loves the library on campus, and he finds a book. And that book, there's no author, but the title, similarly to this book's part 1, is titled Sweet Sorrows. So we've gotten kind of 2 hints to write the book title, which was with the pirate, the, book 1 of the book in this chapter. And as he reads, he follows how we're reading this book right now, with the pirate, the acolyte, and then him as a boy. So he's weirded out. And that is the chapter that I ended with, is that him being like, I'm not giving this book back. What is happening? And then he's like, and then, I never see anything about a door or me or whatever, but the next chapter is about dolls. And literally the next chapter, it began as a dollhouse. So I'm hooked. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews with this, right? It's too flowery, the language is confusing, etc. There's not really a lot of plot substance. But I loved Piranesi, I think, might be a really good comparison. Piranesi is on my favorite shelf. It's so good. And this kind of reminds me of that book, right? You don't really know what's happening. All of these things are happening to the character, but that plot isn't really there until later on. So I'm hooked. I'm gonna try to finish this month. It is the 28th of July. I have Friday pretty much free just to read. So if I get a good chunk of this done Wednesday and Thursday, I can just dedicate all of Friday to reading this. And that sounds exciting. I am very excited, especially like this book. I don't want to jinx myself. My last 24-hour readathon video, I loved the cover of the book and I was hoping it would be good, and it really sucked. So I don't know if I want to jinx this time, but this book is so pretty. It's like this reddish color. It has the golden embossed symbols you can kind of see there. But yeah, I'm hooked. I'm very excited. I will see how much I can read tomorrow. I'm hoping to at least read another hour or two. I feel like at that pace, right? An hour today, 2 hours tomorrow, 2 hours Thursday. This is almost a 500-page book. So that's like a 10-hour read for me on average. So if we hit 5 hours, then I would only have to read 5 more Friday. We'll see. That's kind of the math. That's the plan I have, at least in my head. Hello and happy Friday. It is a very nice and rainy day. It has been so dry over here, so the rain is much needed. Everything finally looks green instead of yellow and brown. So it is a perfect day to sit and read. I did not update you the last 2 days. I started Tuesday, got to 24 pages. Wednesday, I read for about an hour and got to 44 pages. And yesterday, I got to page 150. I didn't have too much to update when I got to page 44. And I wanted to at least hit page 100 before giving my thoughts and updates. And it took me a while to get there. I think right now, I'm averaging about 33 pages per hour. If you saw my 24-hour reading challenge, I average about 50 pages per hour. And with that experiment, I actually hit more pages per hour than I expected. And yet with this, it is less than average. The text is fairly small, and this is a large hardcover, so it is understandable that it is taking me longer. But I did take the 50-page average into consideration for how long this will take me, and it is going to take me much longer. I hit 5 hours last night and got to page 150. So I have less than 400 pages left, and so it might take me like 9 hours or something. And I really don't care, right? I don't think comparing how fast you read is really part of reading, right? There's some people who read 80 pages per hour. There are some people who only read 20 pages per hour. The speed at which you read really shouldn't matter as long as you're reading and enjoying. The only reason that I, taken into consideration, mention the 50-page average is that it helps me plan what books I'm reading. Or how long it'll take a video to film. I started this book thinking that it would be about 10 hours. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I had 4 days to read that many hours, and I easily could do that. And I gave myself only 4 days because today is the last day of July. And I like starting and finishing my books within the month. So I don't like to start a book in July and then finish it mid-August, mainly because I track how many pages I read per month. And the way that I track it is that the month I finish the book, that is where those pages go to. So if, let's say, this book doesn't get finished today, I finish it tomorrow, it will be technically the first book I finished in August. So all those pages would go to August. And I really want them to go towards July because I've had such a bad reading month. I think I've read 2 books and DNF'd 4 so far. So it's been really bad. If I can get a win, and this is almost 500 pages too, it would be so good. I blocked out my whole day to just reading. And it's raining, it's a perfect day to read. Now I have read about 50 more pages today. I tried to film this intro 3 times and I couldn't wrap my head around how to record anything. So this is try number 3, but I am loving the book. I am so happy after so many DNFs this month. I'm loving it. It is so fascinating. The world, the story that's building, it's just so cool. And yet I don't know how to describe this book to you. So Tuesday, when I read to page 24, I gave you kind of the gist. So this book is broken up into found books. Book 1 is Sweet Sorrows. And so we get chapters from the book, and then we get what is currently happening in Zachary's world. And I have heard reviews where people say that this book is too confusing or too lyrical, and I can see that with the book within the book. But for me, it is perfect. So, right, we have the book title, The Starless Sea, and that is mainly what the book is about. There is a place underground that is called the Starless Sea. And these books kind of surround themselves around about what happens in this, other world. It's almost a magical, nonsensical realm, I guess I would say. And Zachary is pretty much now in the midst of accidentally falling into this world because he found that first book, because he, read a chapter about himself as a child, right? So he's now in this world. He's fallen into all this weirdness. He keeps thinking, is the Starless Sea real? The book says that he isn't getting there yet, not yet. So now he's just kind of waiting, and he keeps hunting for clues. Now, what I like about this book is that it isn't just Zachary trying to find the Starless Sea. That isn't the main plot. And I think the book would be completely different if it was. We have another, addition to that plot line. So as Zachary hunts for clues about the book he acquired, he goes to this literary raising funds for kids, right, type of thing after he tries to search online his book, and he sees one photo with a woman that has a bee, a key, and a sword necklace. And he's like, that's the only thing I have. And then this event is happening the next day. I'm going to do it. And if nothing happens with that, I'll stop. I'll stop hunting for it. And of course, it turns out that there is more to it. There is another secret society called the Collectors Club that is trying to stop people from going to the Starless Sea. He meets 2 characters during this event. He meets a 3rd character a little after the event, who is the head of the Collectors Club. And now he has 2 people who aren't answering his questions because of how fast things need to happen, because now the Collectors Club knows he had a book, and that book should be locked away or kept on guard or whatever, because it mentions the Starless Sea, it mentions other details. The Collectors Club doesn't know that he is in the book, so that's good. It's just, oh, you're a random person, you found this book, you have to give it back. He does end up in the Starless Sea in a harbor with, again, too many questions. But now the story has turned into, how do we stop the Collectors Club from destroying these doors that appear or have been made to get to the Starless Sea? So one of the 2 characters we meet, we know that she can create doors. She's an artist. She paints doors for people to find. She drew his door. The other character we don't know too much about, other than that he has a sword necklace. Because remember, we have I don't remember how to pronounce this word. The acolytes are the bee, the guardians, who are the sword, and the story keepers, who have the key. So we know that he had a necklace with a sword on it, and that's all we know. We don't know if it is originally his or something else. It's kind of funny that I'm pretty sure I do have bookmarks of, for sure, a bee and a sword. I don't know about a key, but it's funny that I chose the sword, so I guess that's where I would be placed. I think I mentioned everything I was supposed to mention. Like I said, this is my 3rd time, so hopefully I didn't forget anything. But I'm really enjoying this. And right with this experiment of library recommendations, where I give my favorite books, I give my Goodreads list, I give, ideas and thoughts of what books I want and don't want, this is starting to feel like a 4 or 5 star. And if this turns out to be a 5 star, I would have 2 out of 3 book recommendations be 5 stars. And that would be crazy. That would be crazy. I mean, I don't think I've rated even 5 books 5 stars this whole year. Maybe I am at 5 now because I read Hazelthorne, but still, it would be quite impressive. So I am going to to read a good more chunk of this. This is about as far as I am. I think I'm about a third of the way through. And I did just reach a great stopping point because we're on book 3, which is a surprise for me. I only know that there's 2 books. But we'll see if I can finish this today or not. I have hit halfway. I think I'm 54% through. I have made it to the next book, book 4, and I don't know what else to say about this. It is still that weird, convoluted story. Pieces are falling together and you're making more and more sense of the world and the people and what's happening. And it really feels like Zachary is the key, no pun intended, but the key to saving the Starless Sea. And maybe not necessarily reverting it back to its former glory, mainly moving it towards a positive place again for people to come and to stay and to experience this world. There is a little bit of romance, I think, tying in the story between Zachary and the man who we know as Dorian, who had a sword necklace that he met at the bookish literary event, whatever I called it last time. And then we have Maribel, who is the person who draws the doors. We also kind of get her backstory throughout that last book of her origin, kind of like her parents, actually. We find out about them and how she became how she is, and also her relationship with the keeper, which I wasn't expecting. And like, yeah, it's so fascinating and so good. And a happy note, a lucky note, I should say, is that I'm reading faster. So this book might take me not as long as I thought, which is good news for me. I think I am averaging about 50 pages per hour now. So with what I have left, I think, about 200 something pages left. I should be able to finish this in 4 hours. It is currently 5:30. I am going to take a break, go eat, go work out before I just dive into this book again and not want to get up until I finish. You are joining me on my evening walk. Hopefully the lighting is fine, as it is pretty much sunset. I successfully finished reading The Starless Sea yesterday. I finished at 12:34 a.m. So much earlier. I thought I would be reading for another hour after that. But I finished it, and even better than just me finishing it in the said time that I wanted, I gave it a 5-star. A 5-star, and it has officially gotten on my favorite shelf. I don't even remember the last book that got put on my favorite shelf. It is a very distinct shelf. It's like 6 stars plus, beyond anything that I could have hoped for. So Lydia, my librarian, hit it out of the park with another book. I don't think I have much to add to what I've been talking about with the book. All the characters, story arcs were great. The weirdness really tied in well with the main story that we were following with Zachary. And the ending was perfect. You really figured out why, like, the bad was happening, if that makes sense. You knew why the villain of the story did what they did, and it was so good. I will just leave it there. I highly recommend those who like doorway books where someone enters a door and that door is a portal to another world. If you also like Piranesi, in that kind of vein of the mystical, the magical, the almost confusing, but in the end everything makes sense. I think now it's getting too dark for even you to see, so I am going to stop recording now. Am I fooling you that I didn't record both the intro and outro on the same day? Maybe. It is the middle of August. The initial filming went really well. Editing took a little longer. Life stuff got busy the weekends where I usually edit the most. So busy, so full of stuff. So I haven't really been able to sit down and edit or film an intro or an outro for this video. But I am happy to say that The Starless Sea is a new 5-star favorite shelf book. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say about this as my closing thoughts. I feel like I covered it pretty well. This book is exactly what I wanted, and I am so happy to finally get to it. I love challenges like these. because of the unexpected that can happen. Sure, I have books on my radar that I want to get to, but this is like a personal recommendation. Both, right, The Starless Sea and The River Has Roots. Both of them were 5 stars. And The River Has Roots was my second 5-star of the year. And that happened in April. So it is really crazy the percent chance that I would get for this one little idea, this one availability that my library gives would come out with 2 5-stars. I wish I could have gotten both books done. And I thought at one point I could because I read this in such a short amount of time, but I'm so glad I didn't because I wasn't able to edit. I didn't have time. I kind of ran out of the time I thought I saved by reading this so fast. Now though, I am rereading this already. I am listening to the audiobook with my wife. I got my brother to borrow this from the library as well, so he's also reading this. And the audiobook is fantastic. And I did look back. The River Has Roots, they recommended as an audiobook because I marked that as one of my options that I like to read. This said it was a pleasant read in general, but also that the audiobook is really good. And oh my God, the audiobook. Whoever voices the book for Sweet Sorrows will live rent-free in my head. We're gonna take it slow, but still try to finish it this month. And so far, both of them seem to be liking it. If they don't, I told them not to tell me. Don't hurt my feelings. I love this book so much. But yes, I absolutely love this book. I really wish, do I wish there was a second one? Yes. For what happens at the end, let's just say more symbols popped up. And so there's a full set of 6 symbols. And I want to know what those mean. Like, it is so intriguing on this world that Erin Morgenstern created. Like, this is so good. And I'm now equally as excited, there goes all my books, to get into the night circus. I don't know now where to slot this because I was planning on just having 2 videos, but I don't know. I want to get to this sooner rather than later. It's unfortunate that I have to break it up into parts, but I'm glad I did because there's a lot of footage for just the Starless Sea. And I want the next video to be a sci-fi because now I have high expectations because of Lydia. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm planning on doing. I am going to be filming something for the night circus for sure. So expect that whenever. I'm hoping by this year I will finish the fantasy and the sci-fi so that next year I can focus on horror and romance. So yeah, so far this experiment is working great. 2 out of the 3 are 5 stars and 1 made it to my favorite shelf. The River Has Roots almost made it to my favorite shelf. It was just teeter-tottering on there. So Lydia is a wizard. I don't know what magic that they put into that email, but I am now very, very excited for the rest of my reads. I hope I'm not having too high expectations now because I am a harsh rater. But yeah, thank you for following along with me. Even if it is just a 1 book reading vlog, I still think it was fun, hopefully. And as always, this is Quinn, signing off.